Hello guys, my name is Arun and welcome to my channel. This series is a series of tutorials on OpenMP implementation in Fortran. Now in this tutorial I'll be talking about the num_threads class. Now suppose let's say you have a program wherein you have 16 threads or 8 threads. Let's keep it simple. Let's say you have 8 threads used in an OpenMP program. Now you come across a situation wherein for a one particular block, let's say one parallel block, you don't want all the 8 threads to jump in and do the job. You just want just 4 threads or just 2 threads to run the job. Why so? Well, maybe because you felt that 2 threads doing a particular job would be efficient instead of doing 4 threads doing the job or something like that. Well, whatever be the reason, you just felt that just 2 threads or just 3 threads will be sufficient to do a particular job instead of all the threads jumping in to do that particular part of the program. Then how can you do that? Well, num_threads is actually useful. Num_threads class is actually useful for that. So basically, what it says is that that doesn't matter how many threads that have been that are being called in the first line of the program, such as this OpenMP set num_threads. Num_threads is used for executing a particular block of OpenMP, a particular block of code placed inside an OpenMP directive block by the given number of threads, by a specified number of threads. For instance, here in this program, I set the number of threads to be I set the number of threads to be 5 over here, and I set n to be 2. Okay, I'm calling the subroutine to set the number of threads for this program to be 5. Okay, now in this what will happen usually is that if I run what will happen usually is that if I execute this line of statement, this entire block will be done parallelly. This entire block will be done parallelly, and we're going to get something like if class done by thread number 0, thread number 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that. So if I run this using the shell script which I've written over here, similar to all the ones we written before, simple enough and straightforward. It says if class done by 0 to 4 in some random order. It's pretty simple. Now I just want this to be done by just by a few threads. Let's say just by 2 threads. Okay, then this line of statement would be useful. What it says is that I'm starting a regular parallel block. I'm starting a regular one, no problem, and I'm calling this class num_threads. And inside this num_threads, I'm passing n. Since n is 2 over here, I'm calling 2 threads in this line of code. Okay, everything else just for avoiding the race condition stuff. Okay, now what this does is that this num_threads class makes sure that this parallel block would be done by the specified number of threads only by the specified number of threads. So if I specify 2 over here, it will be done by just 2 threads. If I specify something like 4 over here, it will be done by 4 threads. Okay, so since I specified n to be 2, if I run this, let's see, number of okay, sorry, I didn't save this. Sorry, I forgot to save this. Okay, now you get it. Now if I run this program, what happens is that this line would be active and number of threads to be n is n, and since n is 2, this would be executed by 2 threads, and here we're getting this print statement executed by threads 0 and 1. So if you said now, so clearly this program has the capacity to use 5 threads, but here in this block of code, I'm explicitly using just 2 threads. Simple as that. Now this way you have a control over the number of threads that you can use in any part of the code. Okay, that's the advantage of num_threads. Okay, now so what if now let's have a little experiment. Now the number of threads I'm setting is 5 and then n to be 2, right? What if the number of threads is greater than what if the number of threads I'm using over here is greater than the total number of threads that is allocated? Let's see how that goes. Fortunately, looks like it does not it doesn't look like an error. Okay, so in these cases, I guess it's calling 2 more threads to do the job, I suppose, maybe. So So you guys just check that out. I mean, you can just try your experiments and set the number to be greater than the specified number of run threads to see how it works. As of now, it looks like as if there isn't any problem, but there might be one. So just check it out if that works and stuff. Okay. So as of now, this is not a problem. So let me just just come back to the original form. Okay, so if I just have a parallel block, if I just have a parallel block, if I just add this num threads line over here, class over here, then this parallel block will be done just by the given number of threads n. Now, in addition to this, this block, instead of just acting as a instead of acting as a single class, it can act in tandem. With other classes as well. For instance, in this case, what I'm doing is that I'm setting an if class just like that we saw last time. I'm checking whether if the number of threads is greater than or equal to 4. If it's greater than or equal to 4, then this num threads line over here will make sure this entire execution will be done by the given number of threads n, but not by all the n threads, all the specified threads over here. Okay, now let's check that out. If I run this bash script over here, it says since this condition in if clause is clearly correct, since n threads is 5 and it's clearly greater than or equal to 4, okay, this entire part will be done by just 2 threads. Now for a change, let me set this to be 3. Save this, run this again. Now this if clause statement gets printed by thread 0, 1, 2, 3 again and again in some random order, so just only 3 works. Okay, this way you have the option to keep the class working in tandem with multiple classes side by side. Suppose if this condition is false, let's say by keeping this to be 3 and I'm keeping n to be 2 over here to make things distinct. Now if I set n threads to be 3, this clearly ignores the if statement over here. So if I run this, it says if class done by thread number 0, because since this if class is false, the entire thing for this program will be done serially, and that too by just master thread number 0. Okay, master thread 0, and that's the reason why you get this. So if I just uncomment this line as well, this will be printed as -1. Simple enough and straightforward, and that's one application of how to use num threads. This gets really handy when you come across certain algorithms wherein using all the number of threads is not beneficial, but using all the number of threads is not beneficial, but using only a particular number of threads will be useful. One example of this would be your if you are working with some fast Fourier transform algorithms, let's say, then people usually say that the algorithm would be efficient and work faster if the number of points that is used are in multiples of 2. Suppose if you have 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 60, 64, something like that, number of points you want to use for a FFT series, those kind of cases, okay, they'll be much faster and much more efficient to break it and to parallelize them depending on the case. Okay, in those kind of cases, if you put an if clause such that the number of threads is a multiple of 2, something like that, and you specify a number of num threads n for n value for number of threads such that it's again a multiple of 2, in those kind of cases, then these will work pretty fine. Okay, that's just a random example on top of my head. Okay, that's all I have for you guys in this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Next tutorial I will come up with another interesting topic. So till then, take care. Bye.